Mama. Please don't move. You're making my head confused. That was the day I knew something was very wrong. Something that could break a home forever. My name is Neka, and this is the story I never wanted to speak about. Not because I am ashamed, but because it changed my heart in ways I still cannot fully explain. I married Odogu, a man 20 years older than me, after I gave up on love. He was calm. He was patient. He spoke to me gently. He listened. He treated me like a person, not like a thing. But Odogu had a past. His first wife had died suddenly, and he was left alone with their teenage son, Kenne, who was 17. When I moved into their home, I told myself I would accept everything that came with Odogu, including his son, who barely looked at me. That first night, while I arranged my things in the room, Odogu held my hand and said, "Give Kenne time, Neka. His heart is still angry with the world." I nodded. But inside, I wasn't sure. Kenne was tall, quiet, sharp-eyed, and carried sadness like a heavy load on his chest. "Good morning, Kenne," I said, smiling. He walked past me as if I wasn't there. That thing pained me more than I expected. But I didn't stop trying. I cooked the meals he liked. I arranged his books. I washed his school uniform. I cleaned the house. I wanted peace. I wanted a family. Still, Kenne stayed in his silent world. Until one day, he came home with a small cut on his hand. I quickly brought the first aid box and cleaned it. For the first time since I entered that house, he spoke to me. "Thank you, Mama Neka." That small sentence warmed me. It was like the first sun after a long cold night. The next morning, he asked, "What are you watching?" I told him the name of the show. "Can I join you?" he asked. I said yes. We sat together. We laughed. We talked a little. A small bridge formed between us. Or so I thought. At first, his compliments were simple. "You look nice today, Mama. This stew tastes good. You always keep the house bright." I didn't think anything of it. But slowly, the way he looked at me changed. His eyes stayed too long. Too heavy. Too deep. His words also began to change. "You're very beautiful. You smell sweet. I like when you smile." I felt uncomfortable. A tightness in my chest. A warning in my spirit. But I kept telling myself it was nothing. He was a boy missing a mother. He was still healing. Or maybe I was lying to myself. Because something unseen was growing in the quiet space between us. Something wrong. Odogu traveled often for business. When he left, it was just me and Kenne. Those days felt longer. Quieter. Heavier. Kenne was always around me. Helping. Following. Watching. One evening, while I washed plates in the kitchen, he came and stood behind me, too close. "Do you need help?" he asked softly. "No, I'm fine," I said. But he didn't move. He just stayed there, breathing too close, watching too closely. "You're really beautiful," he whispered. My heart jumped. My hands shook under the running water. "Thank you, but don't say that again," I whispered. He didn't reply. He only stared. Not with badness, but with confusion. With longing. With something he didn't understand. He walked away slowly. That night, as I lay beside my husband, sleep refused to enter my eyes. Should I tell him? Will he believe me? Will it break them? Will it break us? Fear sat on my chest like a heavy stone. Kenne started appearing everywhere I was. If I went to the backyard, he came. If I sat in the living room, he came. If I entered the kitchen, he followed. When I looked up, his eyes were always there. Watching. Thinking. Wanting something he couldn't name. I started avoiding him. Sometimes I locked the door. Sometimes I pretended to sleep. Sometimes I prayed quietly. God, please help me. I don't want trouble in this house. But trouble was already walking toward me. Odogu traveled for a 2-day meeting. That night, I was in my room folding clothes when I heard a soft knock. Neka, can I talk to you? It was Kenne. I didn't answer. He opened the door slowly and stepped inside. He looked troubled. His breathing was unsteady. I don't know what is happening to me, he said. I see you, and my head becomes hot. I froze. Kenne, please go out, I said. But he didn't move. He stepped closer. His voice cracked. Mama, please don't move, you're making my head confused. Something inside me broke. Fear. Shock. Sadness. I pushed him back gently. Kenne, stop. I am your father's wife. I am not your mate. This thing you feel is wrong. He covered his face with both hands. I know, he said. But I can't stop it. He ran out of the room. I locked the door and sat on the floor, shaking. My heart was breaking for many reasons, for myself, for him, for the home we might lose. I didn't know how to tell my husband. But the truth found him. The next morning, I was sweeping when I heard shouting outside. Why would you say such a thing about my wife? Baba, I'm sorry. No. Explain yourself. My heart immediately knew what was happening. Kenne had confessed. I ran outside. Odogu was shaking with anger and pain. Kenne was crying, kneeling on the ground. Papa, I didn't mean to. I don't know what is wrong with me. Odogu looked at me with eyes full of questions and hurt. Neka, is it true? I felt tears fill my eyes. Yes, I whispered. But I didn't encourage him. Not even once. Silence. A silence that felt like the whole world stopped. Then Odogu walked away. He went inside and shut the door. For 2 days, no one spoke to anyone. Kenne stayed in his room, silent. I stayed in mine, shaking. Odogu stayed outside, thinking. On the 3rd day, he called us. He sat on a stool under the mango tree. This matter will not scatter this home, he said quietly. But things will change. He sent Kenne to live with his older brother in another town until his emotions settled. He told me I did nothing wrong. But the trust in his eyes. It wasn't the same. And the peace in our home. It was cracked forever. People think danger only comes from enemies. But sometimes danger grows slowly inside a house, without noise, without warning. Sometimes it comes from a heart that is hurting. A heart that is lonely. A heart that is confused. My story is not to shame anyone. It is simply to show that life can turn in ways you never expect. And sometimes, you protect a home by speaking the truth, even when that truth cuts deeply.